Hey everyone, welcome back to the range. My name is Matt. We've got a body armor test to do today, but first, did you work out today? Did you go for a walk or run? Did you lift some weights? I did a push press 6x2 as part of a linear progression. Hopefully the DOMS hasn't kicked in too much yet. I can feel my abs being a little sore in the triceps, but we're gonna chug along. I've got Botach Battle Steel. This is their level 3 plus ceramic plate to check out today. This is a 10x12 model. It is multi-curve. I can detect quite a few different curves here. It weighs 4 pounds 14 ounces and is approximately 750 thousandths thick. This Battle Steel level 3 plus plate is coming in right around the same weight as other level 3 plus or some of the newer RF2 rated plates have been. What I like so far is I detect that the ceramic extends all the way to the edge. I don't feel any foam there, although once we do a tear down, we always get a definitive answer where that edge goes to. Now, I do not detect any drop face foam on this plate, and since it employs a ceramic strike face, I've gone ahead and done an N.I.J. drop test where I drop it on its face 2 times as a preconditioning test. Other things that I like to do to keep constants around here is I shoot at 45 feet, which is the N.I.J. testing distance for rifle plates. I shoot at 0 degrees. That is worst case scenario for this plate. I also use this giant clay briefcase, as I've dubbed it, 16 by 16 by about 4 inches deep, filled with Roma Plastilina #1 clay, donated by Chavant. Now, I'm the old redneck in the woods, so I don't have any way to keep the clay at a specific temperature. I'm not in an environmental chamber or anything. So this is just going to give us a representation of backface, and it's used as a compressible media and something flat for me to mount my plate on. It's about 75 to 80 degrees outside today. At the beginning, I put a spreadsheet that foreshadows all the different rounds that we're going to shoot at it so you guys can know ahead of time. And at the end, I fill all that out. In full transparency, I purchased this plate with funds that I gathered from our YouTube AdSense revenue. So indirectly, thank you, the viewer, for watching this video and helping me earn a little bit of money back to help pay for that plate. So we're going to start with our 5.56 threats. 2 very prevalent loads in the United States. One is M193, 55 grain full metal jacket. The next one is M855, 62 grains with a steel penetrating tip. And then the third one is not so common. I probably would call it rare, but it is the Army's current issue ball round, M855A1. It replaced M855. Could see stuff, or could see it become stocked in the United States someday if they ever replace 5.56. So we'll take 2 shots of each on this plate and then go see what we did. We are using a TC compass with a 22-inch barrel, so maximum velocity. I have a turbo 5.56 suppressor on there. Make sure I pick these up in the right order. I'll try to call out these shots on the plate as I make them, so it makes it easier for me when I go down and show you guys. This will be the upper left. Good velocity, right where I wanted it. This will be the middle. Good velocity there. Now M855, right next to the last shot. Didn't get a velocity reading off that. This one will be below the M193. That's a fair velocity. Now our A1. A little low on that. I have seen 3,200 feet per second out of A1 on a very nice warm day. Then our last shot will be right next to that one. So pretty much all right in a row, left to right. I think I'm going to take these sunshades off for any subsequent shots because we're starting to not read on the chronograph. I'm going to take 2 shots from our 308 from our 16-inch barrel here, give us a little bit of range here, and then we'll go down and check out the plate so I don't talk a whole bunch and make this video longer than necessary. So I have 2 advanced threats in our 308. I have M80A1, that is the Army's current issue ball round, 130 grains with a copper core and a steel arrowhead tip, hardened to about 50 on the C-scale Rockwell. Then I have P80 black tip, 150 grains. I think that's either Israeli or FN manufacturer. You can normally tell that it's that particular bullet because it has two cannelures on the outside of the jacket. We have a 16-inch CZ557 Urban Counter Sniper, the JK Armament rifle kit on there. I will place these two shots fairly far apart on the plate, and then if they survive, if the plate survives, then we have a 22-inch barrel that we can throw against this guy. So this one will be on the left about 4 inches below the 5.56 shots. Right where I wanted it. Then this guy, hopefully I get a velocity reading off it this time, will be on the far right of the plate by the bottom of the B. Got an error that time. They have been running around 2,700 feet per, or 2,600 feet per second, I think, out of these today. All right, now let's go see what we did. Normally I would write all these out, but I do know where they all go, and it's kind of hard to write on this nylon material. But this was M193, number 1, number 2. This is M855, number 1, number 2. This is M855A1, number 1, number 2. This smoking hole right here is our P80 black tip, and normally when it's smoking and I see all this clay buildup on the outside, that's not a good sign. Down here was our M80A1. All of these per the R.A.N.G.E would be considered fair hits. Definitely I gave this shot the best chance of surviving because we're about 3 inches away there. This one is a little close, but I like experimenting. I should remind everyone that I'm not a replacement for the R.A.N.G.E. If you see these results and they are favorable, you should ask the manufacturer, or the manufacturer themselves should then seek out an R.A.N.G.E accredited ballistics lab to certify these threats. It looks like they are using silicon carbide. I see some Kevlar aramid fibers on the front. We did test the Battle Steel Level 4 a while ago, and it performed really well. For any of you that don't know, these plates are made by Long Fry. I don't know how much of it's imported, but I do know they import some materials, but they seem to build pretty good plates. Ruh-oh, R.A.N.G.E. We have a penetration from the P80 and the M855A1s, both shots, but our M80A1 stopped it. Back face wise, a little serious there. Let me get the old depth gauge out, y'all. I'm getting hungry, folks. I've been out here all day and I'm hungry. So this guy over here is at M80A1, 50 millimeters. So if this were R.A.N.G.E clay, probably a little warmer, probably be failing, but it stopped it. Now the concerning part is that it didn't stop the two M855A1 shots, although that's outside of the purview of the R.A.N.G.E testing. The new and upcoming RF2 1 and 2 standards cover M193 and M855. Since we got a penetration on our M855A1 out of the 22-inch barrel, I got called out last time when we did the HESCO L210 that I should have went to a shorter barrel length to figure out if the slower velocity would then be stopped. I didn't bring the 20-inch out today, but I have a 16-inch, so we'll take 2 more shots from our M855A1 before we go to our 308. This ceramic strike face still seems pretty firm in the areas that I've checked. We got a Stag Arms Model 1L Hyperfire 24C trigger on here. See if I get a good placement on here. Air, of course. Probably shouldn't have taken the sun shields off. 2890. I have a 22-inch TC compass, again with the JK Armament rifle kit in here, so we're going to see full potential velocity out of our M80 ball, which is from Poonsang. or PMC. It's 145 grain. Lead core, bimetal jacket. Should see 27 to 2750 feet per second out of this. I have a couple good spots left on the plate. Typically with a ceramic level 3 rated plate, this is not a concern of stopping it. It's a matter of back face. This plate is a little thinner than average, around 3/4 of an inch thick. So if there's less polyethylene there, there's less of that material to absorb it, so we could see more back face. The NIJ limit is 44 millimeters. I think the military's limit is 58. My clay underrepresents because I can't keep the temperature up there. So in a NIJ test, could see more. I think the angle of the sun is messing with the chronograph. So if we don't get any velocity readings off this, I have been seeing anywhere from 2700 to 2770 today with this particular load. So this will be the bottom left of the plate. 2703. This will be the bottom right of the plate. Aw, I shot another strap in half. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and all of you who consume my content without ad blocker on. All right, here was M855A1 shot number 1 and 2 from our 16-inch. And then down here was the 2 M80 ball shots. I would consider all of those fair hits. This plate has definitely seen better days. It's taken quite a bit of hits though. That is a good thing. We'll get it torn down after we check these results. Hey, that's a big back face right there. Looks like we're starting to see some delamination from the plate there. I can see there's our ceramic strike face and here's our polyethylene. It may be hard to see because I probably should have come down and showed you guys before shooting the 308, but we do have a penetration on the M855A1. That was the first shot right there. The second one did not penetrate, so that's a good thing. So it looks like this plate would need a 14.5 inch at 45 feet to definitely stop M855A1. As mentioned with 308 and thinner plates, back face becomes a concern. Stick my little gauge down in here. 56 millimeters, so that's pretty high. If you can see that there, sorry if you can't. By myself. This one over here, get all the way down there in that crack. That one's about 48 millimeters. I do believe when the NIJ tests these, you know, it's 6 shots all right in the center area. So their results could vary. Obviously, they're not shooting all the different threats at the plate at one time. I think they go, you know, the 6 shots of 308, and then for RF1 and 2, 6 shots of M855, then a fresh plate and M193. And obviously, they test multiple plates. Mine is just a sample of 1. All right, we've got our Battle Steel Level 3 Plus plate torn down. The back side here is our polyethylene. Looks like we're getting some delamination. Not sure if these have to be pressed harder together or with more pressure, or how that all works. But we've seen worse where large sections of it start to delaminate, so it didn't do too terrible. There is no foam on the back side here. Pretty typical polyethylene. I see a little bit of foam on the outside edge to protect against drops and falls and whatnot, but it's not too thick. Now, like we saw with the level 4, this is a part I think Long Fry is doing very well. This is an aramid fiber, and this is an aramid fiber, and they're using adhesive to bond this to the strike face so that if you take these hits, the strike face can remain as intact as possible and it doesn't fall apart as easily. You can see I can peel this off here, so it's not bonded as well as say the Hesco L210, but it's still bonded and it's keeping, you know, this ceramic down here in shape so that if it does develop cracks like you see here, it still can provide some protection. This is silicon carbide, as I said. I don't think it's B4C. I measured some of the good parts of this plate to be around 265 thousandths thick. It is a monolithic strike face. There are no tiles, as you can see in here, or discs or hexagon things. It's a solid strike face. I do, like I mentioned, I do not detect any strike face foam on here. Would like to see them add some of that to help with drop protection. To quote Mike over at Mr. Guns and Gear, all armor comes to die on my channel. We had really good results with our Botach Battle Steel level 3 plus plate against M193 and M855. However, whatever silicon carbide quality that they're using could not stand up against our advanced threat M855A1. Our P80 black tip is again something outside of the realm, probably more so a level 4 threat. I probably should stop using that on level 3 plus. I was just out here using it today, so I'm like, well, I might as well use it on all the plates that I'm testing because they're all about the same. This plate did stop M80A1 out of our 16-inch. I think if it had a much thicker ceramic strike face, it probably would have done it out of the 22-inch. Although usually what we've seen is you need alumina over 300 thousandths thick to stop that threat. Some of the positives about this plate is that the Botach Battle Steel plates are known for their budget-friendly options. This plate, I think, was under $200. I like that it is fairly thin, although I think when it's thinner, it's going to cost us a little more on the back face, and it's fairly lightweight at under 5 pounds. Well, folks, it's about time for me to get the heck out of here. The sun is setting. At the end of all my videos, I take a moment to thank all those who help make these possible. Number 1 is my Patreon supporters, and number 2 is you all for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you at the range. To quote Mike over at Mr. Guns and Gear, all ammo